Alrighty, we are in Farmington with an amazing Adrian Hudson from 90 Minute Run.
Good morning.
So it's a cold, chilly Sunday morning in Farmington, New Mexico. It's also my hometown and Adrian's hometown. And we are kind of full circle back home right now. And it's dealing with New Mexico trying to make up its mind whether it wants to be spring or winter. And we're on our way to one of the local favorites of Durango Joe. So, Adrian, tell me, bud, what have you been up to?
Going to school, doing everything basically, living life, working, just trying to stay ahead, especially after dealing with the pandemic for the past 3 years, kind of put everything on hold. It's nice to see things kind of getting back to normal, if you want to call it normal. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. Haven't been doing much in terms of music. It's been a while. Kind of lost track of a lot of friends. I'm happy to see Nick. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years since we played together, and maybe 10 plus when we ran into each other randomly.
Yeah. I could say that with a lot of the people who we played with, like Downplay, Third Degree, a lot of those guys, I haven't seen them in years. So, shout out to them. I haven't seen them. What's up? I've been seeing flyers for other groups, young groups, picking up the torch that we kind of dropped, I guess.
We passed on, but we forgot to give them the kerosene to go with it.
Yeah, there was like a lull there. Well, I'm pretty sure there was, anything. Like the only band I heard playing was, basically who kept the torch going was Signal 99, who is also a friend of mine, Chuck Haven, who I went to Navajo Prep with, and he's still going, so that's great. Keep it going, Chuck. What else?
Where's Signal 99 based out of?
They're actually, I think they're from Shiprock, Farmington area.
Oh, okay.
I just saw they did an article in the Daily Times, yesterday or the day before, and they had a write-up about them. They're actually playing at the Whiskey in Hollywood. When we were going to school at Navajo Prep with Chuck and I and several other of my friends, we used to go to lunch together, and this is the time of CD, so like every weekend we'd go home and we'd come back to Navajo Prep. Everyone would have like a new CD, sometimes two if we were lucky. And so like, you had the kid that was totally into metal. He would be in like stuff like Alice in Chains, Rage Against the Machine, Tool. And you had the kid that was just totally into hip hop. He'd bring like Nas's Illmatic or Wu-Tang Clan's first album, and
Dr.
then
Dre.
Yeah, Dr. Dre. And I was kind of like the industrial punk guy, like, listening to Ministry and Minor Threat. I was
Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, Nine Inch Nails. So like we would sit at the table at during our lunches, and we'd say, "Hey, man, I want to listen to that CD. I've never heard that band before." So there was a lot of that's where my taste got so broad, is just because we were exchanging CDs, every week it was something different. So that was really cool. And in the age before streaming music, where all the kids have it easy these days.
Right? Well, so now let's see exactly where you're at in that time period. Was it the time when we were able to burn CDs, or was it before?
It was before that time. So it was still mixtape era.
Nice, the Walkmans and everything.
Yeah.
I still have mine, actually.
Yeah, I have one too. When they would get all messed up, the tape would melt or whatever, man.
You re-spool it with a pencil.
Yeah, the pencils. Yeah, exactly.
Well, even like with a mixtape, you're committed.
Yeah.
You cannot just hit shuffle or random. That was your commitment to, like, this is what I'm listening to nonstop.
Yeah, it basically became a labor of love,
Yep. And you spent hours making that playlist, how it's going to flow into the next song, what's going to be your opening, what's going to be your kind of slow down middle part.
Yeah.
Well, that was my method.
How good it meshed. Yeah, it wasn't like, it didn't blend well, like kind of like how Spotify does.
Yeah. Yeah. Spotify took that talent away from us.
Yeah, it made it easy. So.
Yep. So we are here at Durango Joe's. Punkrock. How did that enter your life?
I had an older friend who introduced me to the Misfits in like 1991, 1990, and before that, it was a lot more stuff like post-punk, high.
So what's the most popular ones here?
So probably like the Avalanche, which is a white chocolate macadamia nut latte.
What are you getting?
Whatever you want, man.
No, you don't have the specialty coffee this morning?
What do you mean?
The coffee of the month?
Let me see if
Yeah.
No, we do have a coffee of the month.
yeah, we do. It's Guatemala. It's a light.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
So what do we got here? What are you drinking, bud?
Guatemalan roast.
Nice. I got the caramel macchiato, a little foo-foo drink. Got the Durango Joe's logo there. And their latte, which is pretty sweet because I've never been up here. I talked about punk rock, how you got into it in the early 90s, around 91.
Oh yeah. The actual starting point was in like 1988, 87, 88. I started finally discovering music. This is coming from being a kid, playing with toys. All of a sudden, boom, found music. From finding music, I had older cousins who were really into like Depeche Mode and The Cure and Pixies, and so they kind of opened that door up to me. So those were like initially the first bands, like Joy Division, still a favorite of mine.
I'm sorry, who was that again?
Joy Division.
Oh, Joy Division.
Yeah. So I got introduced to those by my older cousins, and then right around that time, I started hanging out with this kid. He was a skater, and so he introduced me to a lot of stuff like the Misfits, Minor Threat, the Cramps. Just kind of finding all this new music. I couldn't get enough of it. So thankfully my parents really took care of us and provided. So I would always get like tapes and buy tapes and go to, at the time we were living in Navajo, which is by Fort Defiance, and we'd go to Gallup, and so whatever I could get my hands on, I'd get usually one a week. And so
actually, I didn't know that. I thought you guys were always in Farmington.
No, I grew up in Navajo, and that's kind of funny. I'll get to that part. This has a story about the 90-minute run thing. So I got into music that way, and we were still living in Navajo back then, and out in Navajo I had a lot of cousins and family. I still do, but we would always like I said, they would just introduce me to new things. And 1988, I remember that was the first year I heard Straight Outta Compton by NWA. So yeah, I remember listening to that, and Too Short. And then 1989, which is the year my older sister graduated, that's when I first heard Disintegration by The Cure. And it just blew open for me at that point. And so we were finding out about goth rock, death rock with Christian Death and Ministry, Skinny Puppy, Sisters of Mercy. So it's funny how a lot of these bands are still around.
I saw Nine Inch Nails. I think it was 2005.
Yeah,
2005. They came with I think it was Jane's Addiction. It was called that Ninja
I
tour.
think I remember that tour. I wanted to go, but
I got pit tickets. Went, and Ministry was opening.
Oh, nice.
Super exciting. We barely missed him. Showed up the last song.
I went and took my old roommate to go see them at the Marquee Theater down in Tempe. And here, the funny thing was, we go. It's his birthday, so we go, and here, 2 songs into the Ministry set, he gets kicked out.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It's his favorite band too. So
that happened with me with Tiger Army.
Oh yeah. I broke a rib or two the first time I saw Tiger Army. It was with Sick of It All, Tiger Army. There was someone else. But during
I think I know what you're talking about. There's because it was the kind of they're doing like that union of East Coast and West Coast. Mm-hmm. It was a crazy eclectic lineup. Like might have been Flogging Molly.
Yeah, it was a weird show, but like during Sick of It All, I fell and I cracked my ribs, and so
was a part of that where they get everybody to ram each other.
What do you call it? The Wall of Death.
Yeah, the Wall of Death. There you go.
So I always remember that. That was years ago. I think it was 2001 or 2.
Yeah.
Something like.
No, that was. That's funny because the Wall of Death, first time I did it was at Sick of It All came with, I think it was Agnostic Front at Sunshine Theater. And the other guy on the other side, huge native, maybe like 400 pounds.
Wow.
He turns around, pulls down his pants, and moons everybody like Braveheart style. Because that's what's the name of Lou, the lead singer? He was like, he's like, all right, everybody, you guys seen Braveheart? We're gonna do this. That's called the Wall of Death. And we just hold on to these big old skinheads, and we're just screaming our lungs out, and we charge. And I'm surprised I didn't break anything on that.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up that. It's like in what year was it? I think 04 or 03 when they did that Agnostic Front tour that came to Tuba City. Do you remember that?
That came with Unseen, right?
It was the Unseen, Agnostic Front, Ringworm, and there was one more band.
Horror Pops?
No, it was Ringworm.
Hatebreed?
Hatebreed was headliner. Yeah, so I went to that. I went to that with one of my late cousins and ex-girlfriend. And the funny part about it was, I remember on the way back we sprung a leak in our radiator. And so we're driving from Tuba City back to Phoenix and stopping every hour to put water in the radiator. I'll never forget that because we kept stopping, putting water in. Yeah, so it was pretty funny.
So who secured that show?
I have no clue. I had the ticket stub somewhere.
That's big.
Yeah, that was huge. I like when I first heard, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, Hatebreed's coming to, and it was cool.
I mean, it's just like when you hear about Danzig going to the Res too.
Oh yeah,
the first time with Northside Kings.
Yeah. Danny Northside. What's up? Yeah, that's my buddy too.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
nice.
yeah. So check out Danny Northside's books.
So is he the one that knocked out Glenn Danzig?
Yeah. He kind of transitioned from being a musician to being an author. So he has several books about his stories about music. It's funny.
Oh, you're literally talking about his books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
he has a book about that whole experience, and well, it's actually about all the hate mail, all the emails, all the hate backlash he received for punching Danzig. In around 1992, my parents moved us from Navajo up here to Farmington. We moved up here. It was quite a shock to me being 15 and having to uproot myself from all my friends and racism, but at the same time I'm like, oh my God, I almost just spilled coffee all over myself.
All on camera.
Yeah, that would have sucked. That would have heard me scream.
That would have been in Nick Nelson's books.
I just saw this thing pop up. But so I went from going to public school to Navajo Prep, which private school. So
with everybody who doesn't know, what exactly makes Navajo Prep being called Navajo Prep, and where's it located?
Navajo Prep is on the west side of Farmington, New Mexico, and they are. You have to apply, and you have to do an interview, and you have to have test scores, and so in order to get in. So,
do you need a CIB?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so we went there, and to be honest, that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I got to meet all my friends who I was talking about earlier about how we blended our musical styles and everything. And like I said, I still keep in touch with a lot of them. I mean, I live all over the place now.
And I'm curious about this because my cousins, they went there, both of them. It was awesome because it looked like they were in Hogwarts. They would have their stuff, come home over the weekend, wash their laundry, get everything ready, go back, and they're gone for the whole week up there, living in their own dorms, being their own little adults. but what I noticed is that they're surrounded by other natives. So was it comforting for you to go there, coming from Navajo and being around other natives instead of just being surrounded by like?
Yeah, because I think it would have been a little more jarring if I went straight to Farmington High, which is predominantly white, and so like going to Navajo Prep where it was 100% native, and it was a transition I needed, and so like it made it easier, being an awkward teenager who listened to punk rock and who was trying to figure out the world.
Yeah, and also like the other thing I grew up in Farmington, but I came from Shiprock at, I think it was 10 years old.
Okay.
So when I started second grade, it was in Farmington, but it was jarring for me because it was an all-white upper class elementary school. So it's cool that Navajo Prep's actually on the border town, and I don't know how many schools are established like that on the border either, too.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot over the years. Like, I know there's a lot of people up and coming who are trying to do stuff for the native youth, which is great.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so now, how did you decide to pick up an instrument and start playing music?
Well, when I was going to school in Navajo, I actually played in band for many years. I played for I think 6th grade until 10th. So I played in band, marching band, jazz band, concert band, and so I knew how to read music, and I played alto sax for all that time. So I kind of put it away when I moved to Farmington. Kind of dilly-dallied with guitar when my friends who were at Navajo Prep, they decided they would bring their guitars, like you said, they would bring Hogwarts, they bring all their stuff. So yeah, a lot of them had guitars, so like they would be playing whatever easy stuff there was to play, or figure out on their own. So fast forward a few years, I was living, having to stay with my cousins, probably 2001. Pretty soon I was hanging out with my first cousins Shane and Dustin, who are the drummer and the bassist, the rhythm section from 90 Minute Run, and so we started hanging out a lot. They kind of were already playing in a band, and it was like that was the beginning of 90 Minute Run. They had a female singer though. Yeah, at the time, they had a female singer, and so like I moved in with my cousin, and he was like, I used to tease him, I used to call him the mayor of Tempe, because he took me under his wing, and he was like, all right, you're newly single, I'm going to show you where I go to hang out. So he took me all over Tempe, and I was at the time we were buying what do they call them, disposable cameras. So
Thank you, Kodak.
yeah, so yeah, we were buying lots of those, and I was just helping, taking pictures. I was kind of being a roadie for them, and next thing you know, they were just like, join the band, get a guitar, we'll teach you. And they were like, it's punk rock, it's 4 chords, if that, you know what I mean? It's not a bar chord, it's.
What did Fat Mike say? He said you don't need talent, just singing attitude. Just learn how to play your 3 chords or something like that.
That was basically me. That was basically me.
So, all right, so you bought your first guitar in 2001. You're 24, 25.
Yeah, and
your cousins took you underneath their wing.
Yeah, so I started playing, and pretty soon my cousins are very, they're not very social. So I naturally, me being the talker, I was the guy that, so I, it's
just funny. Usually, like, well, I guess I can see that, because even our band weren't really outgoing, but our hype man was.
Yeah. You have one guy in the group. So like I became that guy.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so like I became the guy that would talk to everybody. I became the guy that would help book the shows, or I'd jump on shows. I would, get the flyers, pass them out, you know, just all the DIY stuff that you see now or back then, you know, not so much now, which was shocking. I was living with a group called ADD, who used to be Population Control, and they ran a website slash, they called it a record label, but it wasn't really a record label. It's called S Records.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
I still have that sticker.
Yeah, so that's them. And around that time, when we were linking up with all these groups, the website started up, azpunk.com, and Chris and Micah them got that site going, and that became a real booster in terms of like meeting people, you know, just networking in terms of the scene. And so that was instrumental. And yeah, we ended up getting on their first compilation, which was AZ Punk Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can still find it at Zia, but
Cool.
it was like, yeah, it was like $3, but you got 30 bands.
Yep.
And so we ended up on that first comp, and which is great. That was probably one of our crowning achievements.
So what was the name of the track on
it
that
was
comp?
they took Carry On, which is crazy. Like earlier I was going through my box of flyers, and I found handwritten lyrics to Carry On from Robert, who passed away a couple of years ago, who was our guitarist. And so like you know, it was a little bittersweet finding those handwritten lyrics. You know, it made me want to put together like something, because I don't want to lose that lyric sheet. So.
All right, man, I got some gems here.
Ooh, I recognize that guy. Yeah, anybody who talks about you guys should get back together, like you said, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, we did that on Danny Underground, which is another cool website.